Hey, Corporate Curlies. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm so excited for today's episode of First-Gen Corporate Clockout. We have Ogechi Onyugu, known as Oge, known as the founder of Women's Space and the Corporate Fashionista. So, Ogechi, thank you so much for your time today. I'm super excited to talk to you about what it means to be a first gen in corporate because you and I can relate on so many different elements of
1000%.
experience. So I'm so excited for that. But before we hop into the questions, I would love for you to explain about your brand, yourself, and then we'll get into today's episode.
Yes. Well, hello, my corporate curlies. I'm so excited to have your time and attention. My name is Ogechi Onyuku, known as Oge, the corporate fashionista. And I am also the founder of Women's Space. Now, what exactly is Women's Space? I like to call the Women's Space the corporate woman's number one advocate out of the office. So here at Women's Space, we're providing women with the resources, with the conversations, and the community to be able to thrive with the different challenges, but also celebrate our wins together. So that is Women's Space.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you all aren't following Oge on all her platforms, please follow her. Love her outfits, love her inspiration, love all the resources that she has for us corporate women. So before we
Mhm.
hop into it, okay, I would love to hear from you. What was
Mhm.
the thing that surprised you the most,
Mhm.
or the thing that shocked you the most, or the thing that you wish you that you would have known going into or corporate spaces or working in corporate
Mhm.
spaces for the first time?
That's such a good question. I would say it was that being hardworking and intelligent does not lead to success, does not lead to promotion. I
Mhm.
mean, I think a lot of us, especially being women of color, we have this idea of, I'm going to work, I'm not looking for friends, I'm here to do the job and do it well.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, especially because a lot of these organizations and systems are not even structured for people like us, that will not work.
Mhm.
Truly, you have to be visible and strategic. And, what exactly does that even mean? You have to be visible. People need to know what you're owning.
Yes.
People need to know what you're doing and the outcome and the impact it has made.
Mhm.
And then heading over to strategy, which I know we can dig deeper in and get more specific about, you have to be very strategic on the goals you have professionally and make sure you align with the right people, the right resources that can connect you to that goal. So, very much heavy on advocacy, finding that internally within an organization.
Ooh, that is so real. It's so real and it's so, so, so important to the success of any employee, but especially Black employees, Black women as well. And that's something that we don't talk about. Like what we talk about when we start in these spaces is perform. Okay.
Mm,
Perform to get to this point. You got to perform to excel and exceed. No,
mm,
so many
yes.
different elements that play into the success of being successful just at the job, but if you're also trying to
Yeah.
grow within the company, like there's so many other things to the point that you
Mm.
mentioned visibility, advocating for yourself, but also finding other people to advocate for you and understanding how the system works. It's a system, was
It's
not created in our favor. And understanding the nuances is so, so, so important to like that future success that you're aiming towards.
And truly, like, just echoing what you're saying, like, I really get it. It's our experience. We're number one. Most of us are coming in as first generations, and we're like,
Mhm.
we don't know how to navigate this space. There's so much imposter syndrome. And the number one thing we're thinking of, let me just make sure that nobody questions that I deserve to be
Exactly.
here.
Yeah.
So our focus isn't like making all these connections all the time, especially being the first time coming into these particular systems and spaces. It's like, let me make sure that they know I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to dive deeper into the conversation and maybe talk a little bit about imposter syndrome and being the first entering those spaces. But I really, one of my goals of women's space is to help women become more audacious and to remove that mindset of feeling as if you don't deserve and navigating these corporate spaces with timidity.
Ooh, I love that. And that takes us right into our first segment, the pressure of what being the first really feels like. And I think that's
Mhm.
so important. And I think some additional context to our conversation is that Oge and I, we are both Nigerian, Nigerian American. And if you know Nigerians or if you are Nigerian, you already know that our parents have prioritized being a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Engineer.
Anything outside of that, they give you a side eye.
Like,
Anything outside of that's kinda like, "What are you doing?"
what are you doing? It's
Travel
not
all the
serious.
way across the ocean
That's a hobby. That's a
or
hobby.
yes, we didn't migrate all the way across the ocean for you to just do whatever. Like, our parents have been very particular on what that looks like, and so, for a lot of us who pursue careers outside of those 3 areas, now we're really trying to figure it out. Like, okay, what are we doing? We don't have that roadmap. We don't necessarily like we didn't have to take the MCAT and the LSAT and do all these things to go into those areas. Like we
Mhm.
had to, of course, like get our degrees, get into these corporate spaces, and then really figure it out. And for me, like that was like I'm the first person who's really made a career for myself in corporate. And I don't it was until I got to like mid-level management that I'm like, okay, girl, you cannot just perform. You have to learn the nuances. You have to learn who the decision makers, whose voice matters, who do I need to connect, like all of those things that we just
Mhm.
are not told. So I think this part of the segment is very important because, like, when we think about first gen, a lot of times we think about like first gen college students, et cetera. But first gen and corporate, I think is a whole other nuance that is extremely important. So, Olga, from your experience, I would love to hear like what do you think people misunderstand the most about the emotional load or the emotional toll of being the first in corporate? Because you could hit on that.
Girl, as you said that, I had chills on my body because so you guys, right now I attend Duke University. I'm getting my business degree. And as I'm
Okay,
the kids,
girl. What
as
is
the kids say, clocking.
but the big one?
So I'm getting my business degree. And while I'm here, I'm also reflecting on my entrepreneur experiences. You guys may not know, but I co-founded a tech care startup where we match families with childcare providers as quick as a swipe. So just think of the formatting of a dating application, but instead for parental outsourcing. While I was building that, I was pre med, like most Nigerians. We talked about this. And I was in undergrad. And when I tell you, my parents, when the business started taking off, we ended up getting some funding, a large amount of funding. I had to decide whether I was going to medical school or whether I was going into this crazy startup world that I did not go to school for, that
Mhm.
my parents thought was a hobby. When I made the decision to choose the startup world, corporate, outside of, that track that my parents know and love, going to medical school, like my mom literally told me that she said, "This is the worst decision in your life. You have broken my heart."
That
So
sounds like
basically,
a
this is the
nightmare
end of
parent.
I forgot,
Like,
quote, unquote, what she said to me, but it was the most painful thing I think I've ever heard my mom say, and it was on the lines of, "I'm destroying" no, she told me, "I'm destroying my life,"
mm,
and that this is the worst day of her life. And as somebody that is very close to our family, I know we both are,
yeah.
that's very painful. But it was also followed by building this business with my previous business partner virtually and having to deal with the constant remarks and comments and negativity and questioning. Now, as a professional, especially being the first in this space, specifically the startup space, which is still very corporate,
Yeah.
at some point I had to not even sit my family down. It was kind of impulsive. I just told everybody, I actually don't need your support. I just need your silence.
Mm,
As somebody that is Nigerian, we're growing up with these traditions. We don't talk to our parents like that. So, like, it hurt me to say that, but that's how heavy
yeah.
that load was, that emotional load on me. It's like I'm building something that is beyond anything I've seen, that is beyond anything in my network has done, that is completely, I have my fears. And now I'm supposed to do this with all of that emotional weight
Mm,
and take on your weight too. So, you know what? I don't need your support. I don't need your help. I don't need you to come and give me hugs and speak life into me, but I need your silence. I
yes.
don't want to hear your negativity. I don't want to hear your doubt. I don't want to take on your fears. I already have my own. So, like, that is how heavy the weight can
Yeah.
be being the first, but also, like, being that oddball. you do feel like the oddball because you are not doing what everyone is traditionally taught to do.
Yeah.
It's heavy girl.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my gosh, I think about so many things as you talk through that because it was not only the emotional toll of being in corporate, but it was also the emotional toll of building something that no one has created before. So on
Mhm,
top of the emotional toll and just the weight of building something new, you also had these, whether it's like support or just the comments of, people maybe feeling as though like, "Okay, what she's doing, I don't really understand it, and
mhm,
let me try to, like, veer her into another direction." Like, that's a lot to have to deal with on top of what you're trying to accomplish.
mhm.
I mean, I'm not surprised by it because Naija parents, until something brings them money, they
Girl.
not really go I love my Naija parents. But, I mean, that's the reality of it. Until, like, you see the money or until you see the success, the support may not necessarily be there.
And I get it. It comes from love, but it's and a lot of Nigerian parents that have settled in and they're seeing how the world is changing, whether it's with technology, they're really starting to wake up and be like,
Yes.
whoa, so you mean I had this track star of a child and I told her that was a hobby and that even though she'd get a full ride to scholarship, that would distract her from her pre-medical school. I'm talking about myself as well. Like all these things that these gifts that I really believe were God ordained were not fed because of fear. But I also give my parents and many other parents like this that have children that are the first grace because they're coming from
Yeah,
such a different generation, so many different experiences where they had to navigate spaces where they also were probably the first. So they're like, I'm the first of this. I know how this works. This leads to success. So just follow me.
right.
But
And
yeah.
stability, that's stability.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
when we're chartering new paths that are unknown, it's gonna be unstable sometimes. But as
That's
long as we
right.
have that vision and we understand what we have to do to get there, like sometimes
Mhm.
all we can lean on.
You
That
said
might
it.
be all that we can lean on. But I would
Mhm.
also love to hear from you because I feel like another element of honestly any career, regardless of where it's at, is being human and the fact that mistakes are going to happen. So, as you have been in your career, as you have gone through different experiences, how have you handled that? Something that's very real about our experiences is the fact that we always strive to do twice as much to get and unfortunately get half as much in a lot of circumstances. And I also
Mhm.
feel like being a Black woman in corporate spaces, when we make a mistake, like it can be amplified. So like
Yeah.
navigated through mistakes or failures in your corporate
Mhm.
career and how have you worked through those?
That's such a good question, and I'm gonna be transparent with you guys, like, it's not something that I've mastered, and I think it's an ongoing journey of just applying grace to your life. I call myself a B plus girl. Like I am not super type A. I could be A minus sometimes, but I'm not type A because I don't expect myself to be perfect because actually enjoy stretching myself. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that, I actually like to go for things that I don't 100% meet the mark. And I actually realized that how most men actually approach their dreams, their ambition is by seeking the next level compared to generally us women, we like to make sure we fully meet the part before leveling up. And that naturally comes with mistakes. You have to fail fast and learn quickly.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I navigate it. Now, do I get in my head about it? Do I get overwhelmed? Absolutely. But I talk to one core people that speak life into me. Honestly, I should have just said, I pray. That's number one. Like,
Yeah.
I pray. Like, God holds me down, like, holds me down. Like, I get into my word, I open up my Bible, and I find scripture that will speak life into me. And I listen to my devotionals in the morning. It's something on YouTube where you actually hear the scripture and the practical steps of what that scripture means in your ear. So as I'm getting dressed, something is speaking life, someone is speaking life into me. And then I connect with the people that I trust. And that's so important to have your many advocates within your personal circle.
Mhm.
People that will tell you, like, hey, this is what happened. Okay, we're going to learn from it and you're going to move forward and remind you what you have done because as corporate women, sometimes we're striving towards the next thing so often, we
Oh,
actually forget all the wins and the
oh,
triumphs.
yes. And those letters behind our names too. Don't forget.
Like, I literally had to like, I even right now, I'm on that journey where I'm just, like, getting in my head. I'm feeling as if I'm reflecting on mistakes that I possibly made, and then I had to replay, number 1, how God has moved in my life, and then number 2, how I have navigated these spaces, successfully, even with these
Yeah.
challenges. So, I feel like if you're able to do that, 1, like setting yourself, speak with God. 2, connect with friends that remind you who you are. And then 3, continue to do the work regardless of that mistake and learn from it. I think that on its own leads to so much success.
Love it. What I hear from you is have a strong tribe
Mhm.
about it. And like mistakes are going to happen. We're human. We are human.
Right.
But as long as you have that support externally and emotionally, like that's
Mm,
going to get you through. That's what's
exactly.
absolutely going to get you through. So I love that. So thank you for sharing that, Okay. I want to hop into the next segment around the unwritten rules of corporate because as we talked
Mm,
about earlier on, that is how people survive, okay? It's not just about like, okay, like how do I accomplish X, Y, and Z to get to that next point, but it's all of the other factors that are unwritten about how do I navigate through these social spaces because it's crazy.
mm.
I was talking to somebody and they're like, you know what? Corporate is kind of like high school on steroids. Like when you think about the social aspect, you think about the
That is
popularity
literally it.
aspect, like corporate is high school on steroids, okay?
Mm,
And there's
mm,
money involved. So that's what also makes it different. But what I've learned is that there are so many unwritten things that I've had to learn or put into my toolbox in order to
mhm,
really survive. And I know that
mhm.
like we should not be like navigating off of survival, but I do feel like especially earlier on in my career, like a lot of it was really survival. So I would love to hear like what's one thing you wish someone would have told you entering corporate spaces?
That's such a heavy question because there's so much.
There's so many things.
So many things. I instantly knew because I am Miss Vulnerability is your strength. Like,
Mm,
I instantly learned that you have to be a private investigator to know who you can be vulnerable with.
mm,
Like to know who you can
yeah.
share your mistakes with, your challenges. Because, like, truthfully, at every organization, I know you're an HR leader, HR isn't a safe space. Like, and I know that's a conversation we can go into. I said, not every organization. I know you personally in that you're not out here like looking at
Yeah.
somebody's story and looking for ways like, should we let them go? But there are some people in some organizations that truly that's their culture.
Yeah.
Like that's the culture of the organization.
That's
That is the
you
way
know
they
they
lead.
are as people too.
And you
Yeah.
just said it. Like
Yeah.
most of the times it is not a organization thing. It is truly people's character and their values. And if
Yeah.
people don't value people, it
Mhm.
could get very scary. So you have to pick and choose who you trust. And that comes through testing. Like give people bite-sized scenarios and see how you navigate it. Like whether it's your look, you found a friend in the organization. Can this be somebody that is sharing their challenges with you in safety and you feel that same way? And then when like a conversation happens with the rest of the organization, they're not taking your story and like outing them. Like these are things that happen and I hate to see it, but we have to be very wise with who we communicate to and how we communicate to. And then heading over to even how, there has to be like I always have like a notepad in front of me because you have to be very structured with how you communicate and kind of always showcase your idea when you have a challenge. So, an example, you guys, I'm having a challenge with my development team. It seems as if they're not moving as efficiently with the goals that we have set. And this is the important part you want to incorporate. This is what I have done to help mitigate this issue.
Mhm.
This is what I have seen be the result of what I have done. But I need some assistance with this. And
Mhm.
like when you showcase like what you have done, meaning your action and then your result
Yeah.
somebody is not now using this time to question your leadership capabilities. Instead, they're really here to help you
Mm,
because that's what corporate is. People
yeah.
are at times going to side eye you and make sure that it's not you, that you're actually doing everything in your power and your capability to lead towards driving that particular goal.
Okay, so the aspect of trust, vulnerability, and kind of having the discernment to understand how can I navigate through, with, or around whoever I'm
Mhm,
with. And I think that is
mhm,
so, so important. I don't think we talk about trust enough. There's this book by Minda Harts that was just dropped. I can't remember the title of it, but it's all around trust. And I think it's so
mhm,
important for everyone to pick that up and to read it because, to your point, we don't talk about that enough. Like, even as a community, trust is so important. But going into
mhm,
corporate space where a lot of times Black people go into their corporate environments with a shield up because just like, I
mhm.
don't know how much I can trust you. I don't know how much I can tell you. I'm not letting you in on my life. You're not going to know what I did on the weekends. Yeah.
Even with each other, like,
Even with
we're
each
like, "I don't
other.
know."
But trust is such an important aspect of success because, yes, there's going to be times where you may need to be vulnerable. You may need to
Mhm,
understand, like, can I trust this person or not in order to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish? And I
mhm.
just don't feel, yeah, we don't talk about that enough, but that is so important. That element of building trust and then having the discernment to know who you can trust and who you can trust is also a really important aspect of success.
You
Um,
said it.
yeah, and working through your role. So I really appreciate you for bringing that up because honestly, like I'm still working on that now. Like I've learned in order to be able to grow at any company, like you have to be vulnerable as a leader. And I
Mhm.
think for like being a Nigerian, like we don't like to show that vulnerability. Like
No, because
times
it's
like
deemed as weakness,
that's
right?
exactly what I was about to say. We like to show that we're strong. We like to show that we can take whatever thing on, that we're the best at every and anything that put our finger on.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think that then comes with like a wall up, and I don't think
Yeah.
that's helpful in order to be able
Mhm,
to like grow or to become a leader or to build relationships. Like there has to be
mhm.
a level of vulnerability that you demonstrate, I think, to be
Yes.
successful in these spaces.
And
Because
then
at the end of the day,
people
people gonna be like, oh, I don't know that person. Like I don't know them. And when they don't know you, they don't feel like they can trust you, they're not going to give you those
bingo.
opportunities.
Yep.
Gonna give the opportunities to the people that they can go play golf with, that they can say,
Thank
like,
you.
"What did you do on the weekend?" Okay, like, those are the things that are actually, I think, begin to become more important, especially as you, like, work your way up the pyramid. Like,
What is the statement people say? People remember not what you do, but how you made them feel.
yes,
And truly, like, that is that. When especially as you climb the corporate ladder and you start dealing with VPs,
yeah,
directors, partners, managing directors, people have done it and seen it all. Like, really, you start to see that these leaders actually find a lot of joy and fulfillment in giving back. And a way of being able to do that is through mentorship, through vulnerability. And that is kind of what makes people think of you and consider you when things pop up. Like, I know my mentee, Elgay, was dealing with different challenges on dealing with dot, dot, dot. This was her plan of approaching it. And she was very open with me. We kind of together how we're going to do it. And she did it. So now that's not only a win for me, that's bragging rights for them. So
mhm,
now they're able to say, I had a part to play in Oge's success.
yeah,
And you can only achieve those type of feelings that people like and remember about you by being vulnerable, by being
mhm,
open, by connecting. That means the happy hours at your job, you need to be going. It is not, it's my weekend. My Go set 2 hours aside that you was gonna be scrolling on Instagram.
I know,
Set 2 hours aside, go there, network, let people feel your presence, talk about the work that you're doing. Even if it's not so exciting, make it sound exciting. Connect with leadership, make an appearance, like make them remember you and then leave. And you
yeah.
did your piece of, I would like to say, personal branding because that's so essential.
That is so and it's so important. And there would be times where I found myself saying like, "Oh, I got a long commute." Like, "Oh, I already spent 8 hours." Girl, If you wanna grow, you have got to make those connections. Those after
Mhm.
hour opportunities, those are the things where people get their next role. Those are the opportunities where people get a promotion. Those are the
Mhm.
opportunities where your name begins to start to come into conversations where people are talking about you. It's not only the presentation that you just killed, it's, those after hour connections where people can begin to get to know you even more, which is
Can
critical.
I say this really quickly? Because this was something I had to learn in business school. Because I feel like, especially being Black women, people of color, we're often taught to be humble.
Mhm,
And I'm somebody that 1000% believes in humility. But humility like is not being timid in your accomplishments. It's being able to speak about them
mm,
confidently
mm,
and show and share the impacts and what allowed you to achieve that. So I feel like something us Black people, Black women, people of color need to work on is being confident and speaking up about what we have delivered, the
yeah.
impact we have made, because you can be the smartest, you could be the hardest working, and people still not know.
Yes. Girl, yes. Sometimes it's the loudest one in the room who not the smartest, but that's
We've seen it.
opportunities because they're loud. They're being very loud about the work that they're doing. I've had to learn that the hard way. Like, girl, you cannot just write this like whatever, the best, whatever you just did and expect to be
Mhm.
noticed. No, you have got to be
Mhm.
loud about it.
That's
You have
right.
got to be loud about it. That's something actually one of my coworkers, she did a really great job of just like bringing to light to my manager some of the things that I'd been doing. And I'm like, oh, these
Mhm.
little things don't even matter. But
Now
I'm
that's an advocate.
Yes, I will always be grateful for her. But I was like, "Oh, okay, no, like, even though I'm doing this work and it's good and it's just the things that I think I should be doing, I gotta make sure that I'm loud about it. I need to tell my manager, give him an update every single one-on-one. This is what I'm doing. This is," because those little things, I think they add up over time. Like,
I
they
sure
add
do.
time, they begin to start to build the narrative like, Okay, I trust what this person is doing. I
Mhm.
understand their impact. They're keeping me abreast of everything along the journey, and I think that's so important to, like, writing our narrative, being very loud about our accomplishments and what we're doing, and then also advocating for ourselves. So important in corporate.
Mm.
Can't be humble anymore, okay? Do not be
Mm-mm.
humble.
I love that. Like that right there, I'm still learning and finding what that balance looks like for me to communicate intentionally but authentically to me, because you also want to make sure that you're not becoming someone you're not, because that can be very
Mhm,
uncomfortable and very visible.
mhm.
Like, if communicating out loud looks like you doing that in one-on-one settings
Yes.
instead of, like, in group settings, that is still impactful.
Yeah,
That is still intentional and can work towards your goal. So,
yeah,
I'm also, like, very much an advocate of being authentic to what works for you, because when you go too far out of that,
yes.
then things crash and burn.
Then people start side-eyeing you for other reasons.
Exac No, exactly. You wanna be the loud one at the meeting, knowing you're not loud. Now they just think you're obnoxious.
Right. And so my last question on this segment is, what were some blind spots that you had early on in your career? It's funny because I look back 10 years, I'm like, oh Lord, if only I knew. If only I knew. But when you think back to like when you started, and you look back now, like what were some of those blind spots?
I don't know how people are gonna feel about this, but I would say one blind spot was so eager to clock out.
Mm,
Like, I wouldn't be the 5 o'clock sharp, I'm out, but it will be 5:03. And, I know everybody right now is having a conversation about work-life balance and boundaries and,
Peace
you
and like,
know,
yeah,
but part of, like, thriving in corporate is doing the work well that needs to be done so that it can represent your personal brand within an organization successfully. And I feel as if I were to, and this was years ago in the beginning, like, if I were to give a little bit more intention and thought into the work that I was doing, instead of just having this mindset of that's all you're going to get from me today. I feel like it would have allowed me to, I don't know about thrive more, but it would allow my perception of who Ogechi is in an organization to be even greater. And I am not saying women like overextend yourself. Like I am a proponent of absolutely not doing that. But I
Right.
do think that you do want to give when you think of yourself and how you want to be thought of in an organization, there should be a certain level of excellence.
Right.
Does not mean that excellence means exhausting yourself, but excellence means I have created a deliverable that is ready, that is a great representation of who I am and what I'm capable of. And sometimes we're so in this mindset of this is just my 9 to 5 that we're actually weakening our personal brand within the organization. I had to learn that very quickly and how important that is. So if that means that extra 30 minutes or even that extra hour, that is important because right now I'm on this journey of tying my personal life, my personal interests with my professional skills and goals. And that is one person. It is no longer be one person, outside of the world and be a different person inside the corporate landscape. Like I'm kind of done with that. So what actions can I take that represent both of those people? Hope
Ooh.
that answer your
Ooh, I love
question.
that. Okay, so I know we have the last segment, but I actually wanna hit on that. uh,
Mhm.
Around really stepping into your own identity and being proud about that in corporate spaces. Because I
Yeah.
feel as though, like, just entering into corporate as a Black woman, like, a lot of times we might feel that. Like,
Mhm.
because that one, that's who we are, but also people make that known as well. Like, whether that's making someone feel othered or like,
Mhm.
I can't really relate to this person. I can't really read them, their body language. I just don't understand, like
Yes.
fact that you've mentioned that you're on this journey of wanting to integrate, like, who you are outside of work and who you are inside of work and being very proud about that, not trying to, like, cover that up, like, I want
Mhm.
more about that because that's absolutely been a journey for me.
Yeah.
When people would say, like, people would tell me, "Oh my gosh, like, corporate curly? Like, are you corporate curly? You work at" I'm like, "Oh gosh, don't talk anything about that," but honestly, I'm at a point where it's just like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not covering
Yeah.
up anymore. I'm gonna be proud of course, like, there needs to be a balance, but I'm not going to diminish who I am outside of work. Now
Mhm.
always a caveat to that, like, you don't need there's
Sure.
some things you just don't need to bring into the workplace, but I love
Mhm.
the fact that you mentioned, like, "Hey, I'm who I am outside of work, I am who I am inside of work, and I'm blending the 2, like, it's not
Yeah.
separate anymore," so I wanna hear more
Yeah.
about
No, and I love that. Well, I feel like as Black women, we're continuously on this journey because I mean, we with the Crown Act, what just took place, like we're now in a safer place where we can even wear our natural hair
that. Yeah,
and not face discrimination. And I say
yeah,
it's we're still tracking towards that, even with the Crown Act, but we're progressing towards that. I feel like we had to be two different people because of the systems in place. And then also personally, um, I would give an example. Like as I was a pre-med student, I was somebody that always liked to arrive to places well dressed. I would not wear the navy blue, white collared blue suits that the rest of my classmates would that would want to go to these. We would go to these internships, whether it's with the Cleveland Clinic, whether it's with University Hospital, and I would want to wear I'm not saying I'm coming in there like Elle Woods with a pink suit, but I would want to show up in a way that makes me feel more confident. And that is through fashion, that is through dressing. And I have navigated the challenges of even my mom constantly scrutinizing, and I love you, mom, please don't get me wrong, scrutinizing what I'm wearing, how I'm showing up. And, I had to reach a point after undergrad to be like, you know what, actually, this is me and it's a conversation starter. It truly is. It could just be these glasses I'm wearing. Like,
I
how many
love
people have
told you that
thank you,
before.
girl. Thank you, girl. How many people have commented during interviews on, just certain things and they remember me for it. So I'm really on this journey of showing up as me. Now, like you said, there's a caveat. I'm actually not showing up to interviews wearing this.
Mm,
I am wearing the interview level of me.
yeah,
And then when I get in organizations, I actually show up like this
mhm,
because we still have to understand that even as we're trying to merge those personal our personal identity with with this professional world,
Yeah.
all of it cannot actually exist in the professional world, but also there's natural bias that
Right.
still exists in the corporate world. And you want to make sure that you're able to get in those doors first.
Right.
So, do I show up at every interview as the corporate fashionista? No, but I do show up in a way that is authentic to me because that's important to me. I don't want to come into an organization where I feel like I had to be completely somebody I'm not, because you know what? You have to keep up with that if
Mhm.
you want to maintain that job. So I'm always going to bring me to the table. And, I actually, what allows me to do my best work is when when I'm actually enjoying a piece of it. And it's whether I'm enjoying myself in it and what I'm learning and what I'm bringing to the organization compared to being in a place where we're doing intense work. I absolutely hate the environment. I absolutely feel as if I'm not living the life that I want for myself, that I'm not being myself. That leads to misery and, in fact, depression. And I'm not an advocate of that.
You're not signing up for that, girl. We are not.
No
But
biggie.
what you're saying is extremely important because, I think that we need to hear that more. We need to see that more. We don't see a lot of that. First and foremost, there aren't a lot of us in leadership roles in all these organizations. And what
Mhm.
that I think is so important because, like, what I think about is Bozoma St. John. I hope I'm pronouncing her name or Bozoma.
We love her.
Love her so much, and she shows up when she was in corporate, she shows up exactly who she is, and I love seeing that with her
Mhm.
hairstyles, with her outfits, just, like, with her
Mhm.
personality, everything, and I
Everything.
feel like that allows us to be able to see like, "Oh, I'm intelligent, I'm bright, I'm bomb, and I can show up exactly who I am." And of course, like,
Mhm.
she has earned her stripes, like, she's done what she needs to do, but
Right.
she shows up exactly who she is, and I just
Mhm.
appreciate that so, so much. And
I
if
love her as
that
well.
courage and the inspiration and just yeah, it just makes me feel as though like, "Okay, like, I'm gonna wear my hair exactly how it looks right now into the office."
Mhm.
The women do that as well. So,
Mhm.
so important for us to show up as we are.
And I even want to say, like, thank you for your beautiful curls, your kinks, all of it that you're showing, because it's so important for us to be seen and have like organizations, have communities such as the Corporate Curly, because like if we don't do it, who will? And there's young women, young men that's even younger than us that are having these questions, that are dealing with identity issues or imposter syndrome, and
Mhm.
it's truly us that decide to be like disruptors,
Right,
essentially, that
right.
allows for these doors to open. So, like, when you look at Bozo, you're like, whoa, okay, so I can do it. So now you don't feel crazy. Now you don't feel alone. And it just adds like a little bit more oomph
Yeah.
into your goal of reaching that particular goal authentically. So,
Yeah,
so I want to say thank you and give you your
oh,
flowers.
thank you. Oh, God, thank you, girl. I'm trying out here, okay? I'm trying.
I
And
know.
honestly, most days I'm like, I'm not pulling my hair back.
Mhm.
I'm not wearing it in a bun. I don't
'Cause
care.
you know that's what we do, and you just said it. That's what we do. We will be natural, but we're like, we're not gonna make it draw attention,
I know.
and I'm not mad at it to get in the space, but I'm really a proponent of when you get there, let your work speak for itself. Like, if
Mhm.
you're distracted by this, you clearly have your priorities all messed up. First of all, this is fabulous, so you need to admire the beauty.
Absolutely, and honestly, it was funny, like, the other day, my hair was big, so, like, a lot of times if
Mhm,
I'm pulling it back, it's because I just don't wanna have to deal with whatever's going on that morning, and so one day, my hair was so big, and I was like, "You know what? I am not going to stress with pulling this back. I don't care. I have a meeting with the VP. I don't care." And I don't think I've ever worn it that big. It was, like, much bigger than what it is right now, and so then when
mhm.
I walked into the meeting, my VP was just like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair."
Conversation
I was
starter.
like, look at me thinking twice." Like, I literally was like going on my commute. I was like, why did I not pull it back? And as I step in, regardless of how she responded or not, I don't really care. But the fact that she
Mhm.
was just like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair. Why don't you wear it like that more?" I was like, so is
This weight was lifted. And
yeah.
let me tell you, there are Caucasian women with very curly, big hair, and they wear it, and it's
Mhm.
beautiful, and
Yeah,
it's fabulous. Why can't we do that? Or we
exactly.
know why. We know why we feel like we can't. We have to start
Exactly.
doing it.
Right. Even if she had a negative response, I wouldn't have cared, but it was the fact that I was just, like, playing this in my head, like, "Dang, why didn't I pull it back? Why" Girl, man, whoever,
Mhm.
pull your hair
Mhm.
out, wear however you like, wear however you desire to,
That's right.
and just do the best work that you can, and that's all you can control. That's all you can control.
I
So,
love that.
okay, this was so amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Corporate Curlies. I hoped you had your notebook and you were jotting down a lot of notes because there was a lot dropped. So I really appreciate the time today. This
Mhm.
is all going to be on YouTube. So like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Yes, thank you so much.